Happy Saturday and welcome back to Man Does Midlife. And if you've been following my Mounjaro weight loss journey, you'll know I am hovering just above the 16 stone mark now. And this morning we find out whether I've finally broken into the 16s. And I cannot even remember the last time my weight started with a 16. It's unbelievable. It's been another really interesting week because my latest Mounjaro video about the fear of regaining weight sparked some incredible conversations, and it really reminded me that the journey isn't just about losing weight, it's about learning how to keep it off, and that certainly is the big fear. So let's get into the Man Does Midlife Saturday check-in, which is the more chilled out version of Man Does Midlife and my weight loss journey, where we sit back, we have a chat like old friends, answer a few questions, and of course talk about the pet peeve of the week. So I hope your coffee's strong and your breakfast hits the spot. Right, so here we go then. What did the Hume scales say this morning when I stood on them? They said exactly 17 stone, which is 238 pound. Not 16 stone 13, not 16 stone anything, exactly 17 stone. And I'll be brutally honest with you, I was disappointed for about 30 seconds. But then I looked at it another way. 12 months ago, if you had told me I'd weigh exactly 17 stone, I'd have bitten your hand off. Because when I started this weight loss journey, I was 22 stone and 11 pounds. I now sit here in front of you lot, 17 stone. So no, I haven't reached the 16s today, which I was really hopeful for. But I am literally 1 pound away. 1 pound, that's it. And that's the thing about weight loss and Mounjaro. Progress doesn't always happen on the day you want it to. You can't will it to happen. It will happen though if you turn up and you remain consistent throughout your journey. So it isn't the celebration I was hoping for. It's simply another checkpoint on the way to my goal weight. And for me that now means I've lost a total of 81 pounds. My BMI is down from 39.7 to 29.7, and for now I'm starting to ask myself a different question. At what point do I stop tracking every calorie? I've relied on calorie tracking throughout this journey, but is there a point when you have to trust yourself instead of the app? And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about in Wednesday's video, because I think it's one of the biggest questions we all face as we get closer to maintenance. So if you're approaching your goal weight too, or you're wondering what comes after weight loss, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because I think Wednesday's discussion is going to be really important and very interesting. Right, before we look at this week's pet peeve, let's have a look at the questions we have been sent in this past week. And please remember, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just using the benefit of over 12 months experience using this medication. My advice would always be consult your pharmacist or your medical professional before you start a weight loss journey, or if you encounter any problems whatsoever. Right, we're going to get started with a question from Chris Passmore 4461. They've actually sent in two questions, one of which I will answer now regarding fasting, and one of which I will answer at the end of all the other questions, because it's not specifically weight loss or Mounjaro based, but I'm going to answer it all the same, so stick around for that one if you can. So, many people are pushing 16 to 8 fasting. I still take blood pressure and statins as medications along with gout tablets. These suggest taking with food. I always take them first thing in the morning. How do people fast and overcome this? I guess you just take the medication at lunchtime if it's 1 tablet a day. However, what if it's 2 a day? Sorry if this is a dumb question. Chris, as you know, there is no such thing as a silly question. Right, so intermittent fasting is not something I do, or not purposely anyway. There have been times when I've not had anything from my evening meal until lunchtime, so I guess you could call that fasting. You need to speak to your medical professional, Chris, because I wouldn't want to risk telling you the wrong advice. I'm certainly not qualified enough to answer that question in any shape nor form. So for me, if you've got any issues around intermittent fasting and medication, speak to a medical professional. I appreciate you sending in the question, but that's what I would say is above my pay grade. I'm really sorry about that. So next up we got one from Steve Donahue, 6044, Brilliant milestone to hit. Well done. Massive congratulations. That's in respect to my video last Saturday, which was 25% of my body weight lost to date. Now, here's something I wonder if you do, or if you want to discuss. Do you or will you celebrate with some bad food, drink? Or will you stay on track now with the motivation of almost being in the 16s? I'm not in the mindset of celebrating because I'm not where I want to be yet. So for me, it's not going to happen, or it didn't happen. Yes, I am over the moon with the weight loss. I've never been so happy as I am right now, the weight I am, and with another 14 pounds to go, the future is looking really great from a reaching my goal point of view. The last thing I really want to do right now is spoil it. Although if you watch next Wednesday's video, you will see I am going to try a little bit of an experiment just to test myself, just to see if I've learned anything or learned the habits that I should have learned. I've always been in the mindset in this entire journey that if I want to eat something, I will eat it. I will eat it in moderation. So whereas before I would have a whole pizza, now I probably have half a pizza. That's kind of where I've been at for this entire journey, because I don't believe in restricting the foods that you enjoy, because I don't think it leads to a healthy, sustainable way of losing weight. And if you start going down the road of celebrating, which is kind of what I used to do when I was doing Weight Watchers, Slimming World and all those other diets, is I would get to Friday and I would celebrate because I'd lost £3 that week, and it just doesn't work for me. It is not sustainable. Next question from David Palmer 5290. Q&A. When increasing your dose, have you ever found an increase that felt like it had no effect over the lower dose? Watch some of my earlier videos, David. I was a massive fan of 3.75 milligrams. I felt like it was the best dose I've had on this entire journey. I went up to 5 milligrams, didn't feel like it was working, didn't feel like the Mounjaro was doing what it was supposed to do, which is why fairly quickly after going up to 5 milligrams, I went up to 7.5 and then up to 10 where I am now. 10 is absolutely brilliant. I don't feel like I need to at any point go above that at the stage of the journey I'm at right now. Right, before we answer the next question from Chris Passmore 4461, another question for Q&A and also a pet peeve. I just need to point out, I am not a greengrocer. I've never worked in an industry where fruit and veg has had to be stored. I am purely a middle-aged, chubby man sat in his dining room filming videos about Mounjaro. So that is a disclaimer for this next question. Q&A. How do people keep spinach from going soggy? Pet peeve. Spinach going soggy. I understand what you're saying, and from my heart, it's painful, isn't it? Because you put that bag of spinach in the fridge, everything's fine. You go to cook with it, you go to use it. Yesterday it was absolutely fine. Today it's in the bag and it's just a mush. So my deepest, sincerest condolences to you, because it is a horrible situation to get yourself in, isn't it? Sorry, I'm laughing. I'll show you exactly what I do. And I am aware you live on a narrowboat, so this may not be an option for you, but this is what I do with my spinach. So Chris, my fridge has got a little box at the bottom for fruit and veg, and in that box you can set the temperature independent, and that definitely keeps the fruit and veg a little bit fresher for longer. Right, so the final question of this week's Saturday check-in, and it is from Scott Mounjaro. Q&A. When you're dusting off your bike then, half the summer is gone. This is the question I've been dreading probably since the end of April. I'll be honest with you, Scott, I used to love cycling, and I still enjoy watching the cycling on the TV, and the thought of going out on my bike does fill me with a lot of joy. I honestly don't have time. I either seem to be working, making videos, or spending time with my family. So when it comes to the weekend, we like to go out and do stuff. We like to go out and visit places, and we like to enjoy our family time. So it's not on the cards, and it does pain me a little bit to say that, because I have got a lot of nice bikes. I've got a lot of nice kit. I'm probably as light or as physically fit as I've been in decades. And I feel if I was to get on a bike right now, I would be absolutely flying. What I will say is if I get the opportunity, I will be out on the bike. Honest as always, watch this space, because it might just be I have a couple of days off work and I go out and do 20 miles on the bike just to see how it feels. Right, shall we have a look at this week's pet peeve of the week? Now, I do feel like I should have a jingle for that, but I'm not going to start singing on this channel. So for now, that is not happening. Right, it's from Connect71. Pet peeve, lack of support. I went for my yearly health check with the nurse, lost 5 stone, and I'm no longer pre-diabetic or have high blood pressure. The nurse said, "Whoa, what are you doing?" The reply was, "I'm on GLP-1s." Then she said, "It won't last, you will put it all back on," etc, etc. Was then told, "Not to worry, it's just a fad you're going through." I've had something very, very similar about 2 weeks ago when I had a GP's appointment, and I was speaking to the doctor about an issue. He said, "Have you lost any weight recently?" And I said, "Yes, I've lost, I think it was 78 pounds at the time." And he went, "Oh my." And I said, "Yeah, because I'm taking Mounjaro." First thing he did was give me a big grin. He then asked me if I was getting it off the NHS. Bearing in mind I'm sat in the doctor's surgery, he's got the computer in front of me, he's looking at my records. He should know if I'm getting it off the NHS. But it was very much him saying, "How are you getting on? How are you finding it? What's it like?" That's a medical professional asking me what it's like. And this is a comment that came up a few weeks ago, which was very similar on one of the videos, where the lack of support from medical professionals within maybe the NHS or maybe in other areas. I honestly don't think, and this is just my opinion as man does midlife, so please don't hate me, I honestly think that the medication is so new, or certainly new in the way it's being used now for weight loss. I don't think the medical professionals, the doctors and all those sort of people know enough about the effects, know enough about how it works, and probably they don't know enough how it's changing people like us and their lives. I think there's a little bit of ignorance, the same as that person that says to you, "Eat less, move more." Now, that is not a criticism in any way, albeit it does sound like one, doesn't it? It's really about a lack of understanding and probably a lack of education, and that is as far as it goes. I 100% get where you're going, and I hope when you were in that situation with your nurse, you explained the dynamics of the Mounjaro or the weight loss, the GLP-1s and all that sort of stuff, and also explained how it's changed your life. Right, before you go, if you've enjoyed today's update, I've put together a playlist of my Mounjaro and weight loss journey from day one right through to where I am now. If you've only recently found the channel, I really recommend watching a few of those next, and you will see just how far and how much I've changed over the past 12 months. As always, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out. It does all kinds of wacky stuff to the algorithm. The video gets pushed out to more people. I get to share this journey. Don't forget there's a brand new video coming this Wednesday where I'm tackling a question I've never really had to face before, and I think it's going to be one of the most important conversations we've had on this channel, and is going to be a huge learning point and maybe even a test for me. So I really hope you can join me for that. As always, thank you for spending a little bit of your weekend with me. Thank you for your support, and I will see you all on Wednesday.